Imagine a service counter. You walk up, say what you need, and someone on the other side understands your request, chooses the best option available, and hands it to you ready. You don't see the kitchen, you don't know the machines, you don't meet the team in the back. You just get what you asked for, prepared the right way. That's the central picture for understanding factory method. Instead of everyone walking into the kitchen to make their own order, there's an official counter that decides how to prepare and which version to deliver. It's a smart counter that turns needs into finished products while hiding the messy preparation. Let's start with a neighborhood bakery. You order a baguette. Depending on the time of day, the baker might give you one fresh out of the oven, or a warmed batch if the morning rush is over, or even a slightly larger loaf when demand is high. To you, it's still a baguette. To the bakery, there are behind-the-scenes decisions: which oven to use, whether to adjust the size, how long to crisp the crust. You don't make those choices, and that's great. Your order stays simple and the bakery stays flexible. The counter that picks these variations is the spirit of factory method. Now swap the bakery for a car rental desk. You step up and say, "I need a compact automatic." The agent might hand you different models that fit that idea. If it's a busy weekend, you might get Model A. On a quiet weekday, Model B. For you, compact automatic solves the need. For the rental company, there's a set of rules: availability, mileage, budget, company policy. The customer asks for a type. The counter chooses which one. Again, the same idea. The person states the need, the counter selects the right variation. A third example, a ticket counter. You ask for a flight for tomorrow with a checked bag and an aisle seat. The agent searches options, weighs airlines, schedules, and fares, and gives you a choice that fits your request. You decide every detail. You scan all flights yourself or juggle dozens of tiny rules. The counter makes that bridge. Factory method is exactly this agreement. I say what I want, you decide how to produce it, and which version to hand me. Why bother? To make life easier for the person asking and more organized for the person producing. The person asking doesn't need to know the production line or pick from a web of tiny details. The producer can change the kitchen without forcing every customer to relearn the process. Imagine an invisible wall. On one side are the needs, on the other, the factory making decisions. The counter is the doorway between these worlds. Think about a building with a front desk. Visitors, staff, and contractors need different badges. A person arrives and says, "I'm a visitor." The desk prints the right badge, which grants the allowed areas for visitors. Tomorrow, the company decides the visitor badge should have a new color stripe. People will keep saying, "I'm a visitor." The change happens behind the scenes, without confusion at the entrance. That front desk is a perfect picture of factory method. Simple intake, internal decisions, consistent output. Another good scene is a busy coffee shop. You order a large cappuccino. Behind the counter, choices happen. Which milk to use, how much foam, which grind to prefer at that moment. On rainy days, store-packed, the barista might use a faster sequence. On a calm afternoon, a more careful one. To you, it's still a large cappuccino. The kitchen decides how to fit it into the standard. The request is clear, the execution is flexible. Again, the spirit of factory method. It helps most when what you want can come in many variations, and someone needs to choose the right one without drowning you in details. It also helps when the rules can change over time. Today, the bakery uses one oven, tomorrow another. Today, the rental desk prefers one model, next month a different one. It is useful when it's best to hide the kitchen. Customers need to know suppliers, recipes, and backstage processes. And it shines when you want to try improvements without disturbing the way people ask. The counter can switch how it prepares things and still present the same face to the customer. When doesn't it help? When there's only one way to prepare the thing, and it never changes. Then building a counter full of decisions is overkill. It also doesn't help when the request is so specific the person really wants to control all the details. In that case, the counter becomes an obstacle. There's another caution. If the counter starts asking too many questions, which brand, which size, what texture, which oven, the benefit evaporates. Factory method works when it hides complexity, not when it pushes it onto the person asking. A handy way to remember is the phrase, ask by type, receive a version. At the bakery, you ask for the type of bread. At the rental desk, the type of car. At the ticket counter, the type of trip. At the front desk, the type of badge. In all these cases, the counter chooses the concrete version. This brings clear advantages. First is organization. There's a known place where the decision happens. Second is easy swapping. If a supplier changes, if policy shifts, if the season turns, you update the rule at the counter and everyone benefits without changing how they ask. Third is clarity of responsibility. The kitchen is accountable for delivering within the standard. The person who asks is accountable for describing the need. Let's widen the view with quick comparisons. A streaming platform. You choose Mystery, Dubbed, and it decides whether to offer catalog X or Y based on region and rights. A mobile plan. You ask for a family plan with unlimited data, and the agent assembles a combination of features that keeps the promise. A bank. You request an international card with no annual fee, and the system chooses the brand and level that fits your profile. In every case, the customer states the need, and the counter delivers a version that matches it. Factory method also improves communication within teams. Instead of people across the organization deciding, each in their own way, which variation to use, every time something is produced, everyone agrees that choice lives at the counter. If a new rule comes in tomorrow, you change one place, and the change appears for everyone who makes the request. It is like updating the cafe's menu. You don't need to explain to every customer that the cappuccino now has a slightly different foam. The baristas already know how to prepare the new standard. You might wonder, couldn't this become a hidden pile of if this, then that? It could. That's why the secret is to keep the counter focused on what truly distinguishes the variations. It shouldn't interrogate the person with 100 tiny choices. The counter exists to reduce options to the essentials: type of bread, type of car, type of trip. If it starts asking dozens of details, it loses its role as a simplifier. Balance means enough to deliver the right version, but little enough not to burden the person asking. There's another positive side effect: predictability. When a request always goes through the same counter, people start trusting the result. The bakery becomes the neighborhood standard, the rental desk, the city standard, the ticket counter, the terminal standard. You know that asking in that way will yield something within the expected pattern. This lowers friction, improves the experience, and avoids surprises. It's the opposite of walking into a different kitchen every day and getting unpredictable results. Training is easier, too. Imagine onboarding a new attendant. It is far simpler to teach them how to operate the counter than to explain every kitchen hidden behind the requests. For this type of request, we follow this rule, for that one, another. Knowledge concentrates in one place, and the entire team improves together. It is the same logic behind restaurants with an expedition area. Everyone knows where a request enters, how decisions are made, and how the product leaves. 2 short stories help fix the idea. First, a print shop that makes name badges. The company uses 3 models: visitor, temporary, and permanent. People arrive and say which case it is. The shop decides the material, color, and turnaround time. If management changes the color for temporary badges tomorrow, the shop updates the rule internally. People still just say temporary. Second, a hotel. A guest asks for a double room with a view. Reception decides which room fits that idea, balancing price, availability, and quality. If the 8th floor is newly renovated and becomes a priority, reception adjusts the preference behind the scenes. The guest still asks for a room with a view. Why keep repeating the counter? because it separates intent from execution. The person states the need in a simple way. The producer picks the details within a standard. This setup prevents every person from reinventing the process, avoids duplication, and allows changes without noise for the person who consumes the service. In organizations, it avoids endless debates about which model to use for every new request. The decision point is clear and central. To avoid confusion, it's worth reinforcing the difference between this counter and doing everything by hand. When each person walks into the kitchen and picks ingredients alone, you gain freedom and also gain clutter, waste, and trouble-making results consistent. When there's a counter, the system becomes more predictable and easier to evolve. You can swap the oven, the supplier, the recipe, and the way people ask remains the same. It's like a well-run franchise. No matter the city, you know what to expect when you order by type. If you need to explain factory method to someone in 30 seconds, use this summary. Say it's a smart counter. You ask for a type, and it decides which version to deliver. Say it helps when there are many variations and when rules change over time. Say the benefits are organization, easy swapping, and predictability. And add a caution. It is not worth it when there is only one way to do something or when the person always needs to hand-pick every tiny detail. To wrap up, here are 3 phrases to stick in your mind. First, ask by type, receive a version. Second, the kitchen can change, the request stays simple. Third, one clear decision point beats many messy kitchens. If you carry these ideas into daily life, at the bakery, the rental desk, the ticket counter, the front desk, you'll spot easily when this pattern makes sense. And when it does, the result is a more organized service, a smoother experience, and fewer headaches for both the person who asks and the person who delivers.